just the implementation, excuse me, of this idea overall. You mentioned that sales and marketing are really working together. If you're a smaller business, that could be the same person doing both. But when you're combining both those efforts, what are some things that you need to, either implement or keep an eye on to make sure that you can make ABM work for your company?
I think like ABM is by definition pretty collaborative between sales and marketing, and collaboration is hard. I think a lot of people like they hear me say that, and even now they're kind of like, oh yeah, that's fine. And then they would start doing it and they would still just do it in a silo. And I think like truly doing something collaboratively means you start with the other person at the table. So like, for example, a lot of people say, should ABM be sales driven or should it be marketing driven? And I kind of feel like that question is like not a very good question because it betrays that we don't fully understand yet, right? Like, right. I think that if I had to choose one of the two, I'd probably say sales, but I think that it should be, there should be a person who's responsible for it, and they could be in sales or marketing, but ultimately everyone should buy in that this is the right go-to-market strategy, right? Like everyone should agree on what the target accounts are. Everyone should agree on what the value proposition is. Everyone should agree on the content and the channels and the KPIs. There's no part of this where sales just does it or marketing just does it. Like that's not how this works. And so I think that, the hardest part is kind of constructing a system where everybody actually knows what everyone else is doing. So, again, I think that it's not actually that hard. It just requires a little bit of forethought. Like when you create a target account list, it cannot live in a system that only marketers or only salespeople have access to. That can't happen. It needs to be something that is shared between two teams. That's really core. I also think, when you're thinking about what sort of marketing tactics you're going to use to reach these companies, like marketing can't own that. They have to communicate that before they do things like run ads or implement emails. They have to communicate that to the sales team, and that's difficult because they're not used to doing that. And again, there's tools and frameworks for doing that, but I think that making sure that everybody actually knows what's going on is probably the hardest part of ABM. It's really not. It's not like challenging from a technology or an implementation standpoint.
Now,